Where the Crawdads Sing is directed by Olivia Newman. It stars Daisy Edgar-Jones, Taylor John Smith, Harris Dickinson and Michael Hyatt. And in this film adaptation of the bestseller, an abandoned girl named Kaya is found in the marshes by a boy and they fall in love. While this is happening, an ex of hers is found dead and she is found guilty or is suspected of being guilty of killing him. Her and her lawyer have to prove her innocence or she faces death row. Now, I have never read the book to this. I've never been I didn't even know this was a book until this film came out. So I just went into this film blind. I didn't even really watch the trailer. So I just went into this film nice and blind, hoping to be surprised. And I was not surprised because this film really was not that good. It's not the worst film I've seen this year. That is still going to Morbius. But it does have its few positives, which I will list now. First off, the two main leads, Daisy Edgar-Jones and Taylor John Smith, they had some solid chemistry. And I think Daisy Edgar-Jones, while her Texas accent could use a bit of work, I thought she was great. She's really impressed me after that film she was in, Fresh. I thought she was excellent in that. And she's pretty good in this too. She's really impressing me at the minute. The romance is good, it's believable, it's likeable. You want to get together, you're satisfied by the end. That's pretty the main core of the film, and I'm glad that they at least got that right, just to make the characters likeable and believable. But apart from that, there is nothing great. Apart from a few nice shots of cinematography, that's really all this film has going for it, unfortunately, because while this film is not boring, it is incredibly cliche. You know exactly what's going to happen and what the outcome is of this mystery by the end of the movie after the first 5 minutes. Easily. They host themes of like prejudice, which is good. I really think they could be expanded on well in this film, but they just don't do enough with it, and it just feels so stale. The characters feel so thinly written. There's no big character arcs for any of the characters, and while most of them are likeable, they just don't have any big like motivations or anything, and no lessons to be learned, and it just makes them kind of boring, unfortunately. There's also some really poor acting in this film, unfortunately. I'm not going to name and shame, but there are some actors in this that really fail to show a lot of emotion, unfortunately. They just really felt really stale and didn't show any emotion or variety. And again, it just made the characters boring, and every time they're on screen they're just talking. You just, kind of bore your way through it and just hope that something of great personality comes out with them. But it just doesn't, unfortunately. For some reason, there's also a very heavy load of CGI in this film. So many obvious green screen shots of simple things like a beach. Why are we green screening a beach? Just use a normal beach. It's not hard. Just rent out the beach or something. Just flipping shoot there. It's not hard. There's no need to CGI it. There's also CGI animals right at the start of the film, and it looked really cheap. It looked something out of a straight-to-DVD film, unfortunately. It just takes you out of the moment, and it wasn't a great way to start the film for me. Pacing as well was a really big issue. This film is just over 2 hours, about 2 hours and 5 minutes around there, and it felt like 2.5 hours. It dragged sometimes. Sometimes it was just completely boring. But for the most part, it was kind of entertaining and kind of riveting, mostly towards the end when most of like the payoff happens, but the pacing just was really bad in this film, and sometimes I just felt bored and the story just dragged on, unfortunately, for me. Fact of the matter is, there was just far too much exposition. Like there's so much that they could have easily cut out. I think for me, the first 20 minutes, apart from that opening shot with the poor CGI, was fine. It was great. I liked the first flashback of when we see Kaya as a kid with her family and how she struggles. That was a good flashback. But it took far too long because you've got to establish that every character, and they just did not do it pace well. It just really dragged, unfortunately. While that flashback was easy, one of the best parts of the film, unfortunately, it just wasn't paced well, and it really tanked the pacing of this film. Finally, tonal issues. This film's tone is all over the place. I'll give an example. One scene at the start, we see this family getting really abused, and then all of a sudden we cut to a next scene of the girl in the boat. She's smiling and happy. Like, you've just been abused. Like, shouldn't you be crying a bit or something? You know, it really did tank the tone of this film. So many scenes of just people getting either hit, abused, or anything. I never cut to a scene of them being happy. Like, it just did not make sense, and it really messed with the tone, unfortunately. It just made me confused, like, what do you want to do? Do you want to be happy? Do you want to be sad? Do you want to be serious? I don't know. This film didn't know either. Overall, Where the Crawdads Sing does have a really good romance, and the two main leads were very strong, had some very strong performances. I know a couple of nice bits of cinematography, but apart from that, there is just not enough here to make a nice, compelling story. Just a cliche mystery, terrible characters, just not compelling, underdeveloped themes, really bad acting, an overuse of CGI for some reason, exposition told poorly, bad pacing, really bad tonal issues. This film had a lot of problems. There is a good film in here somewhere. I can really see what they were trying to do. There is a good film in here somewhere which could be told very well. They unfortunately just didn't reach high enough to reach it. Overall, Where the Crawdads Sing isn't the worst film I've seen all year. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. I think that's a fair score, to be honest. I do think there are worse movies I've saw this year, like Morbius, like Jurassic World Dominion, like Uncharted. I have heard people say, fans of the book, that the film is quite good to them, which is fine. You know, if you enjoy this film, you enjoy it, which is fine. Enjoy it all you want, but for me, it just didn't hit the mark for me, unfortunately. Guys, thank you for watching this review. Remember to look out for my review of Stranger Things Season 4. And also, I'm seeing Bullet Train soon, which I'm super looking forward to. One of my most hyped films of the year. So make sure to look out for a review for that. But I hope you all enjoyed this video, and make sure you have a good day. See you later.